The 2025 schedule release is oh so close. What wishes do you have for the Texans schedule in 2025? If you rubbed a magic lamp and the schedule genie came out and you could make wishes for the Texans schedule, what wishes would you have? I'll get to my wishes right now, presented by my friends at The Perfect Gene. 15% off, free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. In the link in the description down below, get yourself a perfect pair of jeans. You don't even have to have a genie to get those perfect jeans from my friends at The Perfect Gene. Wish number one for me, primetime spread out. Spread out the primetime appearances for the Houston Texans. I believe they're going to have 4 primetime appearances: a Thursday night football game, a Sunday night football game, and I believe they could get on 2 Monday night football games. When you think about some of the opponents that they've got on this schedule, a lot of teams on their schedule were playoff teams from last year. A Monday night football matchup or 2 is not out of the question. But last year, the primetime games, just one after the other, after the other, after the other, and then the weird schedule quirks at the end and the back end of the schedule. I mean, they played on Thursday Night Football on Halloween. Then they played on Sunday Night Football. Then they played on Monday Night Football. Then a few weeks later, they had their bye week. Then a few weeks later, they were on Saturday. And then a few weeks later, they were on Christmas. It was too much. Spread out the prime time appearances for the Houston Texans on this schedule. That would be my biggest wish. And the Texans would never tell you that that weird, quirky schedule on the back end affected them. They would never admit that. But I know it was difficult to handle from time to time. Heck, there were even days I was going to the facility going, what day is it? What day is it supposed to be? So spread those primetime games out. If it's 3, if it's 4 for the Texans, spread them out over the course of the schedule and don't have them all jam-packed into the back half of the schedule. Don't have them all jam-packed on back-to-back-to-back weeks like the NFL did to the Texans last year. That'd be my first wish from the schedule genie. My second wish from the schedule genie, I want the Texans to play Baltimore and Kansas City early in their schedule. I want the Texans to play the Ravens early on, and I want the Texans to play the Chiefs early on in their schedule for a variety of reasons. Let's start with the Kansas City reasoning. Kansas City's revamping that offensive line. They got to change some things over on their protection for Patrick Mahomes. We all saw in the Super Bowl, you get after Mahomes, you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and with a revamped offensive line, the sooner the better. You know what's not revamped? You know what is humming right off the bat for the Texans? That defensive line, their pass rush, getting to Mahomes, affecting him, and testing your mettle against a team that got you twice last year. You were close, but they got you twice last year. Testing your mettle early for this team, I believe that would be a good thing. Plus, the earlier you go to Kansas City, the less likely it is for it to be cold and the weather to have an effect on the game. I know they won't use that as an excuse in the building in NRG Stadium, but you'd rather play in warm, nice weather than cold weather if you're playing a football game. The Chiefs do it all the time. They're more used to it than the Texans are. So it's a slight home field advantage. Eliminate that by playing early on in the season. And again, test your mettle, understand where you are in the AFC pecking order early in the schedule. Same conversation goes with the Baltimore Ravens. You don't want to have a Ravens dauber down hangover like you did last year when the Ravens came in. They smacked you around. It took a little while to kind of get over it after Christmas. And they did a pretty good job because they took care of business against the Titans, got back on the field right away, and then ultimately won their first playoff game. But I want the Texans to test their mettle early in this schedule. Same conversation as what we just had with the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you get the Chiefs and the Ravens early, not only does it eliminate the chance of bad weather and affecting the game, you also understand where you are in the AFC pecking order towards the back end of the year. If your schedule's even with those teams and you've beat them head to head, tiebreaker scenarios come into play later in the year. Remember, the Texans are trying to escape that 4 spot in the AFC playoff order. They want to get out of that. Well, you're going to have to beat some likely division winners or have a better record than some likely division winners to get out of that 4 spot in the AFC playoff picture. Beating the Kansas City Chiefs, beating the Baltimore Ravens early in the season. If you could beat them, you'll know exactly where you stand as things start to shake out amongst the schedule and the playoff situation at the end of the season. You'll know exactly how hard you need to put your foot on the gas in those final weeks of the season. If you own a tiebreaker against the Kansas City Chiefs and you're 2 games up on them with 1 game to play, kick back, kick your feet up, and relax. If you know that you really need it there at the end, you keep the foot down. You try to move up in the playoff picture pecking order. That, to me, is another benefit of having those 2 games early in the schedule. Now, these are wishes for a genie. You don't need a genie to wish for the perfect pair of jeans because my friends at The Perfect Jean have those for you. Lightweight, breathable. They are stretchy. I'm a big guy. It's hard for me to find jeans. Sometimes I thought I needed a jeanery to give me the perfect pair of jeans. Not the case with my friends at The Perfect Jean. I got 2 pair. I'm about to get me a 3rd pair. I got a black pair, light blue pair. I'm going to get me a gray pair. They double up nicely when you want to kind of get that business casual look as well. And again, comfort is super important to me, and these are the most comfortable jeans I have ever put on. The link in my description down below, it's going to get you 15% off. But did I mention you're going to get free shipping? You got free exchanges and returns. You get something that doesn't quite fit right, they work with you great to make sure that you get exactly what you want. Tons of colors, tons of options from slim cut to boot cut and the athletic fit, which is what I wear. You're going to love The Perfect Jean. I've heard from a lot of you already that you love the jeans that you got from The Perfect Jean. If you haven't ordered, check them out. The link in the description down below. Get your 15% off and your free shipping. You don't even need a genie to get The Perfect Jean, my friends at The Perfect Jean. Wish number 3 for the Houston Texans schedule. I want LA late in the schedule. 2 trips to LA for the Houston Texans, one to play the Chargers, one to play the LA Rams, and I would like both of those to be later in the schedule. Why? Because LA is always going to have good weather, and if those are later in the schedule, it means the potential for bad weather games being earlier in the schedule is the case. Plus, there's a little extra added thing about the Rams matchup for later in the year. Matt Stafford is always banged up. He's always hurt. He is perpetually on the injury report. And the chances that Stafford's banged up later in the year for the Rams is a lot higher than banged up early in the year, though I think he just starts the season on the injury report. But yeah, you catch a little hobbled Matt Stafford later in the year. That's a playoff team from last year. The Rams are a good team and a good organization. They should be tough. And oh, by the way, they've got a ferocious defensive line. They're very good, very talented, and very young on that defensive line. You want to have that offensive line situation settled and have a clear understanding of who is going to be the offensive line that you can trust. And that is more likely later in the season for the Texans than earlier in the season. So that's a benefit to the Rams. And then with the Chargers one, I mean, really, it's just, again, LA guaranteed to be good weather. You want that later, so it pushes a potential bad weather one, like, I don't know, Seattle late in the year. No, you want that at the front. The Chargers being at the back of the schedule, more likely that the Seahawks are at the front of the schedule. And then Tennessee can get kind of cold too, so kind of want Tennessee up near the front when you have to go visit Nashville. They don't quite have that new modern stadium built over there in Nashville just yet. So LA late is wish number 3. Not as big of a wish, but still a good one. And this genie, the schedule genie, gives you 4 wishes. Most genies give you 3 wishes and you can't wish for more wishes. The schedule genie gives you 4 wishes. My 4th wish is an oddly specific one. I would like the Texans to host the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football and wear the Battle Red uniforms. So there's a lot there. I want them to host the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football because that's an intriguing divisional matchup because of Travis Hunter. The Jaguars should be a much better team than they were last year. Trevor Lawrence is healthy. Obviously, you have the Azeez Al-Shire and Trevor Lawrence bad blood from last year with what happened with the hit on Trevor Lawrence from Azeez Al-Shire. New coach in Jacksonville, but Travis Hunter is a fun and exciting piece of the Jaguars that they haven't had for a few seasons. And a Thursday night matchup, you'd love for it to be a divisional game, and you love for it to have just a little bit more juice than your typical division game. That's what Thursday night games can be. And then the Battle Red jerseys. So I don't know early in the season, but a few weeks in, maybe like week 6, week 7, Thursday night football at NRG Stadium against the Jaguars in the Battle Red uniforms. That's my 4th wish on the Texans schedule from the schedule genie to go along with primetime spread out, Baltimore, Kansas City early, LA late in the equation, and of course, the Thursday Night Football Battle Red AFC South showdown with the Jaguars. Those are my wishes. What are your wishes for the Texans 2025 schedule? Let me know in the comment section down below. And were my wishes good enough for you? If they're not, let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, hey, thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out myself and Landry Locker from the Locker Room on the SNL channel, where we do weekdays at 4 p.m., Wednesday, 4 p.m., Wednesday, 4 p.m., 5:14. Frank Ross, special teams coordinator of the Houston Texans, going to be talking about coaches' cuts and all the fun special teams and energy that Frank Ross brings to the conversation. He'll be on the SNL channel, so don't miss out on visiting with us and Frank Ross. We're going to do a cool thing with donations to coaches' cuts as well. So very excited with the visit for Frank Ross. Very excited for the visit with Frank Ross. There we go. Words are hard sometimes. Maybe I need a genie to fix my brain as it jumbles up the words. Alas, what also would be a good genie wish? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to visit The Perfect Gene. You don't need a genie to have the perfect jeans on you. Just visit The Perfect Gene, 15% off and free shipping. Appreciate you watching the video. I burped there. I'm sorry. I'm going to edit this out. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave it in. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.